Welcome to Exploring Monterey Bay, airing bi-weekly on KSQD 90.7, 89.7, and 89.5 FM. I'm your host, Matilda Rand. My guest is Kristin Praly. Kristin Praly is the Executive Director of Horse Sense Education Nonprofit, an organization aimed to improve the quality of life of humans and horses through integrative and educational programs. Horse Sense was created for the love and understanding of people and horses. And you'll hear more about it when we get started. Because first, welcome, Kristin.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you for having me.
So tell me a little bit about your background working with horses.
I've always been intrigued by horses. I was introduced to them as a very young age. I just followed farriers around, followed me all the way through college, where I taught through college. I was a stallion barn manager there. I worked for Dixon Veterinary Clinic later on in life, both large and small animals. Love Peter Tim, little plug for him there. Also, I was a vet tech, and I retired vet tech to go back to teaching. Luckily, Covered Bridge Equestrian Center, Tammy Bull and family, Patrick Bull, very graciously allowed me to teach there, which just brought the program to life in the Santa Cruz Mountains. I'm very grateful for that.
And what did you teach?
Horsemanship from the horse's point of view. We started with Rusty, the magnificent mountain pony. He has taught more kids on this mountain than, thousands. And he was voted a Felton favorite, and he has a little mural. It's really very sweet. So brought lots of smiles and connection to people in our community.
You noticed a lot of things about animals, that they have this special connection with people?
You know, you have to be aware and present to be with a horse or an animal in general. And they live in the moment. And when you truly connect with them, especially a horse is a mirror. And if you connect with a horse, they're going to show you who you are, what you're presenting, how you affect them. It's an amazing experience to be around these beautiful animals.
And so when did you start working with people?
I would say ever since I was young, around age 12, I started teaching. But really connecting with people to formulate a program happened in 2009 with Covered Bridge Equestrian Center. We started in earnest with a focus in mind to bring awareness from the horse's point of view to the public and change people's perspective on how they worked with horses in general. I would say then.
Did you have any advocates that helped you to get into working with people and horses?
I was very blessed to meet Harry Whitney. He is always saying horses are trying to survive the day when in the company of humans. That's one of his all-around quotes. He is always presented from the horse's point of view, and he actually gave me my voice in order to communicate with people. I had it inherently, and I knew what I had connection with horses, but really it was he that started the vocabulary and the narrative. I would also say Ronnie Moyer was a big, and still is, both of them are still mentors, and I am very grateful that they're in my life. Along with one other major person, so that's on the behavioral side. I would say on the physical side and helping with bringing more awareness to the body and how horses operate cranial to sacral would be Maureen Rogers. She's just an amazing teacher of over 25 years and a pioneer in her field. So you combine that, behavioral, biomechanics, my veterinary experience, and you get a well-rounded package. So I'm very grateful to these individuals in my life.
You started working with the Bull family at the Covered Bridge Equestrian Center. When did that start?
Yeah, 2009.
2009, okay.
With one little pony named Rusty. Rusty Riffick.
You told me that he's become a rite of passage.
He is a rite of passage. What's amazing is I have these generations of young ones that have grown up and come back. They themselves going to UC Davis, becoming EMTs, firefighters, police folk. And I have these people come back and say, I remember when I rode Rusty. And he was always a starter. He's done numerous pony parties, parades, brought joy to so many in the community, and he's the heartstone of our program for sure, along with all the other horses, but he's the one that started it all, really. So he's pretty amazing.
We talked about horse sense education. What's the meaning of that?
Kind of transcends. We have a motto, healing horses and helping humans. That does go to the nonprofit side, which I'm sure we'll talk about in a minute. But that really is our motto. That, along with, we call it the diamond heart, where everybody's their own unique individual and they learn in their own way, and we need to honor the person that we have in front of us. So we honor the horse, we honor the human. We build trust and relationship between the two so they can have communication and connection, and they can respect each other's needs to learn. That kind of goes into, do you want to be a trainer or an educator? Do you want to work with a horse? Goes into conformity versus compliance. And who do you want to be as an educator when you're working with these beautiful animals? Because although they're our teachers, they're also our students, and students make the greatest teachers.
Tell me a little bit more about the difference between training and educator.
Oh, yeah, that's a great subject. I would say, in my opinion, trainers tend to want to get a product out. They want to train a horse so a horse can perform for the human, and they tend to rely on common denominators that people know. If you kick the horse will go. If you lead a horse to water, they'll cross it. If they go on a trail ride, the horse will follow directions, right rein, left rein, stop, go, along with another horse. In some ways, although they care about horses, don't get me wrong, they absolutely do. In some ways, it's a little on the more mechanical side. How do you get a horse to do A, B, C, right? An educator is totally different in my mind, and I've always called myself an educator versus a trainer, because I'm not setting myself up to tell the horse how it is, although I have boundaries. It's more leading the horse to a willingness and an okayness and an understanding of what's expected of them. If you get a horse to have willingness and okayness doing something, they'll do it all day long for you, versus do it because I told you so. Right? So that goes into this whole conversation of, I want to draw a horse in. I want to lead with my hand and have them follow the feel. And if they need to go faster, they'll follow that feel if I add some energy into the situation to bring about a walk, trot, canter, versus driving from behind, go because I told you so, otherwise you're going to get smacked. So a little different.
And then the education, there's also the human involved in that. Do you teach to be open to how the horse responds and what their next step might be? I mean, it may be from, I want you to do this, but in the communication, in the relationship, does it make a difference, or does things change for the human in the interaction with the horse? And maybe with a result that's more pleasant for both.
Absolutely, and that's a huge subject that could go on for days. But but I would say the main point is building support, communication, awareness, a relationship. Let the human know what they're really presenting versus what they think they're presenting, and letting them understand this is what the horse is feeling and understanding from what you're presenting. When you bring the human back to their own presence and awareness and timing, it really opens their mind. I've had people come out of that saying, wow, I feel like I just went through a relationship building class or a therapy session, and they actually do bring it day to day in their lives with other human beings as well.
So the horses help the human heal in the interaction.
A horse is a mirror, and people will always go along the lines of, well, does the horse like me or not like me? The horse likes you fine. It's whether or not they can be in the presence of you. If a human being is busy and their head is spinning, how is a horse supposed to decipher that versus a person that's grounded and very clear in the one thing that they're trying to ask? And so a horse will let you know whether or not you're bringing too much energy into the situation, whether they can focus on you. And it really helps a person say, okay, breathe, breathe. It's nice.
So have you included specific segments of the community, such as I heard you talk about CASA kids and feds, and you worked with the San Andreas Regional Center. Tell us a little bit more about that.
Yes, I just love working with CASA and the San Andreas Regional Center. They are great organizations that truly care about their children. I would say every October we have this beautiful meet and greet event with the horses where they get to have pumpkins that get donated by the wonderful Rodoni family. A little plug there for their pumpkins. They're fantastic. And then they get apples from La Luz Farms, and they get to bring those apples home. They get to bring the pumpkins home. They get to meet animals. We really love that event for the CASA kids. And also,
CASA is...
It's a local organization. We can't really mention who the kids are. They're protected children in the system. If you want to find more about that, it's capital C, capital A, capital S, capital A, and they're a great organization. And San Andreas Regional Center, they're fantastic. I've worked with many of their clients as well. We're in works to try and make it a little more formal.
They work with people with disabilities?
Yes. Now, we don't have special chairs for some of those folks, but if you have autistic children, things of that nature, learning disabilities, we can absolutely help and work with those beautiful people.
Wonderful. Are you working more formally right now with the San Andreas Regional Center?
It's in the works. Right now, if you're a client of the San Andreas Regional Center and you would like to have some horse time, we can do that. But I'd love to become a program that's deeply connected with them. That will take time, of course, but that is a goal of ours for sure.
Now, during the pandemic, how did it affect you and your work?
The biggest takeaway from the pandemic is both people and children having a higher level of anxiety. More importantly, on the children's side, I found that they were having anxiety, social structure, of being able to even read out loud, and just being able to reintegrate back into the school system. What we did was offer what was called a Horse Tales reading event, free through the nonprofit, and the children were able to come, sit with the horses, read a book out loud to them, because horses are non-judgmental. They just enjoy the stories, and time again.
They actually do enjoy the stories?
Yes, absolutely. Time and time again, the horse would stop what they're doing, meander on over, and then by the time we're done, the horse is putting their nose in the book, kind of going, "What is that? What are you talking?" And they just loved the interaction.
It also had an impact on your business side. Talked about triple prices and things became extremely expensive.
In the beginning, we were just Horse Sense education and advocacy. And what I would do is somebody would come up to me and have a special case, and I would just do it for free. We didn't need to talk about it, go into it. We don't need to announce it. We just do. And I think that's what life's all about. But after COVID, with the prices tripling, hay tripling from $17 to $38 a bale, you times that by 5 and 6 horses, it adds up very quickly. So the cost definitely was an instigator to say, well, if I want to continue giving back to the community and I want to keep my horses fed, we're going to have to come up with something different, because I don't want to raise my prices on people. And I do want to give back to the community, and I'm not interested in simply working for money to feed them. So that's where the nonprofit came in, grant money can come in, etc.
We'll be talking about that in a moment, because I have to take a little break and remind people that they're listening to Exploring Monterey Bay on KSQD. My name is Matilda Rand, and my guest is Kristin Praly of Horse Sense Education and Advocacy. We just discussed a little bit about her road into working with horses, and then, of course, teaching and working with people. And then a little bit about the meaning of Horse Sense Education. She works with many different groups in the community, and she said a little bit about how the pandemic affected her. But actually, you got something good out of it. You established this nonprofit, which was basically the image you already had about how to work with humans and with horses. And now you solidified it and you established a nonprofit. Tell us a little bit about the focus and what the nonprofit did for you. What's the focus of your nonprofit?
I would say, in general, we tend to promote reducing anxiety, improving confidence, improving self-esteem, building leadership and communication skills within a community of folks that might not otherwise be able to be around horses. The horses automatically do that for people. I would also say that it's very important to build community awareness and promote camaraderie within the community. I think that as a 501c3, building connections and partnerships between horses and humans empower and enrich lives. And that's really our goal, is to be able to do that within our community. I find that very important.
So let me repeat that, because that's important. Your nonprofit aims to build connections and partnerships between horses and humans that empower and enrich lives, both of the horse and of the human. That's very strong. I think that is one of your beliefs, that that is what needs to happen.
Yes, that is the focus, for sure.
Yeah. And so do you offer free or donation-based equine-assisted learning?
We provide opportunities for anyone who wishes to learn about the holistic horsemanship, whether it's groundwork, riding, bodywork, horse husbandry, and problem solving. The equine-assisted learning programs expands within community groups, again, for those that are not normally able to have the benefits with spending with horses. So, yes.
That's where CASA and Veteran Family Outreach, Big Brothers and Sisters, I understand, and children with disabilities, and adults with disabilities too, of course.
Yes, and the volunteers. There's people who give. We want to give back. So volunteers come in. We are very blessed volunteers. They find a connection with horses, and I make sure that they get education and further their knowledge within the horse community so that they can enjoy the connection. It's like a 1-hour vacation for folks that come and visit the horses. You don't need to go to Fiji, although Fiji's very nice. But it is nice to be able to enjoy our mountains and have a connection with horses, even if it's just for an hour. I mean, people come back smiling, grounded, relaxed. They're more connected to the earth, and that's very important. We're so disconnected these days with the apps and the tech, and the tech's great, don't get me wrong, but it's time to reconnect to our earth also.
You have both a business and a nonprofit side. Tell me a little bit about the business side and then about the nonprofit side.
Again, on the business side, we're approaching a holistic point of view with horses. This is for the horses and for the humans. Again, groundwork, riding, bodywork, horse husbandry, problem solving. But on the nonprofit side, we are expanding into the community, for the community, to help the community connect with horses in a way that they wouldn't otherwise be able to. Our goal, again, reduce anxiety, build camaraderie within our community, build the understanding that horses are very needed in our lives. And this beautiful mountain that we're in, take time to connect to that. And I think that in general, our community will be happier, healthy individuals.
Right. But on the business side, if somebody comes in and said, I want to improve my skills, can you help me with that? Can I have a private lesson?
We love private lessons. Those are the fun ones. I love it when people come with me with an open mind and questions and want to connect with the horses. Those are some of my favorite students. When they say, can you teach me from the horse's point of view? And I say, absolutely, because part of my deep need is to give horses and humans a voice that otherwise wouldn't have one. And when people begin to realize how intellectual and amazing these horses are and how they communicate to us and what it means, I see people blossom in front of me every day. And then I too learn amazing things. There was this one child who came and she wasn't very connected to people. She was shut down in her own self. And she walked up and I had her work with Rusty the pony. And by the time she was done, she, instead of just being closed and her eyes closed and her fists closed into herself, her eyes were bright and shiny and looking, and she was smiling. She still wasn't talking, but her hands were open. And for me, open hands equal open heart. And so I feel that Rusty really touched her heart and made her feel good in that moment. And that brought such joy to me. So if you were to ever ask what the nonprofit brings me, that's it in a nutshell right there. Yeah, that connection.
That's wonderful. So what kind of people are attracted to your work?
I would say a lot of adults who are wanting their children who may not be in group sports to find something that brings joy in their lives, those that need a little extra support, those who may be a little more timid or shy tend to come to our work. We get some hot shots too. Those are fun. But in general, I find that those who are trying to connect to horses, connect to the earth, get their children out there to find something that they might be if it's not group sports. I would also say that most of the kids that come are amazing individuals, and I am surprised at what profound leadership skills they project once they understand working with horses. So we're very lucky to have them in our life.
Would you say confidence building?
Yeah, and this kind of comes back to horses change people's lives. People begin to see how we relate to the world, and they begin to see it's about truth and relationship, connection. So a lot of the folks that will come in may be having a little bit trouble connecting with their social peers, but once they learn how to connect with the horse, they bring that back to school and they start to blossom. And I get stories after stories after stories on how the horses changed their life. I'm just the horses are doing all the work. They're amazing.
You facilitate.
Yes, absolutely.
Tell us a little bit about Lompico.
Yes, Lompico, the owner, we're very blessed, has belief in our nonprofit and has allowed us to host events up there. But it really started with the fact that if we need to evacuate, our beautiful facility in Covered Bridge happens to be a marsh and happens to flood from one time to another. So I was very motivated with a lot of the shutdowns of some of the local horse facilities around here to find somewhere where we could go. And he said, go ahead and build here. So we were very grateful for his open-heartedness towards our program. He said also, if you want to have nonprofit events here, you can go ahead and do that. So we're very blessed with that. We are trying to find a way to, at some point, be more integrated with Lompico, but for the time being, we are allowed to have community members come up there, and it's so beautiful. It is so beautiful and serene up there that we're very lucky to be able to show that to folks as well. But it is a chance to expand our nonprofit and allow more people to experience our beautiful mountains and our horses.
How do people get involved in your nonprofit?
We have our website. It's horsesenseeducation.info. We also have our phone number, 831-316-4773. Please check out our website. We love volunteers. You can become part of our program that way. We love benefactors. We're very lucky to have artists in our area. We have fundraisers. One's coming up, Kissed by an Angel Wines. Local businesses. We're very blessed to have local businesses in our community support us. Please consider coming July 12th, 13th, and 14th to Kissed by an Angel. Our local band, Moonshine Crossroads, our amazing band, along with food truck La Petite, and then that's Friday the 12th. Saturday the 13th, we'll be having Redwood Groove, fun band, and El Bueno Taco. Because we're a horse-related and animal-based, we have vegan options for all our food trucks and food that we host. On the 14th, we're having beautiful Marsha Williams and Jen Reyes, our local artist. Marsha will be doing a sip and paint with a canvas painting, and Jen will be giving a horse figurine that you can paint. And it's Bastille Day, so we will be having French croissants at Kissed by an Angel. So
you mentioned your phone number, 316-4773, but you ask people to leave message because something with Google or something?
Yes. So please leave a message because we can't see your phone number for whatever reason. I don't know why. And also it'll go into spam if you don't leave a message.
Good. And people can reach you by writing to info@horsesenseeducation, all one word, horse and then sense, S-E-N-S-E, education.com. And of course, the website is horsesenseeducation.info. I remember you saying something about at the end of a lesson, you ask people, what 2 things?
Yes. What 2 things did you learn? And name me one thing that you smiled about.
Well, I learned more than two things doing this, and you definitely made me smile. So I want to thank you for being here, and I want to remind people that they've been listening to Exploring Monterey Bay with Kristin Praly of Horse Sense Education and Advocacy. The information again, info@horsesenseeducation.com, or call 831-316-4773. And please leave a message so they know you called. And you can also visit horsesenseeducation.info. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Such a pleasure being here, and thank you for having us.